Hey there, it's April 21st and it's shop update time again. So last update video I talked a lot about these clamps, and then in my next video I made a clamp rack. So if I'm going to reflect on my project, then I'm going to be talking about clamps again, which doesn't sound very exciting. So I've been trying to think about how I can make this video interesting. So on the subject of clamps, let's see how brief I can be. I like the rack. I think it turned out great. But it's only been a week, so it's really too early for me to go ahead and make more of it. But I did take the good old clamp and I moved that over here and I got rid of the broken one. And I'm just gonna live with it for a few weeks and see how I like it. So let's talk about beauty for a moment. In the last video, I made this offhand comment about, it's only shop furniture. And in the comments, one of you called me on that. And it's true that it's often easy for me to just throw something together out of junk wood for the shop. The funny thing is that I think this really turned out quite nice. This top shelf was just a cracked piece of maple sitting in the corner of my shop, but it turned out to have some spalting, and it looks really cool. And while the back of the rack was just plain plywood, the face was some leftover cherry, which again looks great, and it's going to darken up with age, and we'll get this rich cherry look here in the background of my shop. So in that theme of trying to add some beauty to your surroundings, let me show you this humble little project that I threw together in the shop last week. Here's my tool wall above the bench. I keep all my cordless drills here close at hand, and I like to have a selection of drill bits also close at hand. And I used to have this little block sitting here, so let me pull this out. And this is something I threw together out of a junk 4x4 years ago. It was one of these quick projects. Threw a bunch of holes in it so I could hold my driver tips and my countersinks, and then yeah, it filled up. I had and then I ended up with some longer drivers like this, which didn't really work. And I mean, you know how it is. It's one of these things where it's just easy to ignore it and work around it. But the other day I'm like, this is really dumb, because every time I want to drill a pilot hole, I grab my drill and then I walk over to the other side of the shop where I happen to have my drill bits, and I pull that out to get one little bit, and then I walk back to my drills. And so yeah, at first I'm just looking for a piece of wood, anything, and then I happen to spot some nice cherry in my scrap pile, and I pull that out. And really, it was you know, it was like a 12-inch piece of scrap. I couldn't really use it for anything, but this is only a 5-inch space. I started with one board horizontal and one board vertical, figuring I could drill into it, and I decided that wasn't thick enough, so I added another one on the front, and then I ended up adding another one on top, and it is a silly looking thing, but it's got plenty of room here. I got a bunch of holes here for these little 1/8 inch and 5/64 pilot bits. I was able to add a dedicated countersink bit, and then I drilled out some spots for my other countersinks. And up on top, there's all kinds of space, and the back holes are deep and the front holes are shallow, so I can have long driver bits and long driver bits and shorter driver bits all at hand. And then I even still had some space, so in the back I just made a 3/4 inch hole so I could tuck in my spare bench dog. And there it sits. And yeah, that's about, that's about it for shop projects, because I haven't been in the shop much the last 4 or 5 days because I bought myself a new computer, or whether I bought all the parts for a new computer, and I've been putting them all together and configuring a Hackintosh, and yeah, that's a whole nother issue which has nothing to do with woodworking. It's just been sucking my time away from the shop. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing next, but I'm thinking of making a small table with this cherry slab that I teased you with last week. That will have a really interesting story to go with it. And I'm also supposed to be helping my son with a project. It's a school project, and we're thinking it's going to be one of those sofa end tables, you know, where the table sort of comes up over the arm of the sofa. That's not going to be filmed, so but I'll show you the end result when it's done. And that's the end of my list. Sorry if the video wasn't that interesting this week. I'll try to do better next time. As I've said before, if you see anything that you'd like me to talk about, drop a note in the comment, and I'm always up for telling a story about something in the shop. So thanks for stopping by, and we will see you next time. Maybe next time.